Okay.
Welcome.
Hi.
This is our official episode 20. I checked today because we misstepped and thought last time was 20, but this time is 20. And we have a phenomenal guest with us tonight. So welcome to yet again one more Crazy Writer Chicks live event. My name is Nikki Rome. We've got Rebecca White and Winter Navi with me like usual. But this week we also have Judaline Cassidy, who is with Tools in Tiaras, a self-proclaimed feminist plumber. So we are so happy to have you here today, and excited to get to learn a little bit more about you and what you do, as well as your work with your nonprofit. So who wants to kick us off?
Well,
Becca.
Sure.
Becca. It's usually Becca.
So it is. I talk a lot, I guess.
That's okay.
So I
She's
have
also
known
your buddy.
Judaline since I was a little, not little, but a teenager probably.
Yes.
But it's been a very long time since we caught up. But I saw that she's been on like major news networks and stuff. And I
We have
just
a
couldn't. I was
celebrity
like,
amongst
I
us,
know
though.
a real live celebrity, like not just one of us people who are trying to make it, but she's actually been on TV. And she does a really, really amazing stuff. And so to start with, I would really like if you would tell us about a little bit about Tools and Tiaras, like what it's doing right now, so people can see like where it's come to, and also like what you do professionally, just so they can get a context. But then we'll go back and get the beginning of how this all came to be.
Yeah. So as it was stated earlier, self-proclaimed feminist plumber, but not really self-proclaimed. One of my friends, I would go to dinners and stuff like that, and she would always introduce me like, "Hey, this is Judaline, my friend, the feminist plumber." And I was like, I like that title, and I embraced it, and then it just became part of my bio. So I am a plumber by trade. I've been a plumber for over 25 years and love every minute of it, and still continue to love every minute of it. So when you right now you see me in my Carhartts, that's what I'm wearing because I just got off work. So there was no time to do the glam. This is my superwoman outfit, I call it. It's because this is when I become a superhero. So I literally work in the trades every single day with my hands, building and protecting our citizens here in the United States of America. That's my job that I do, and I absolutely love and wouldn't change it. And as Becca alluded to a little bit earlier, um, I started a nonprofit about 4 years ago, and it was just because I grew up in the church, always being like an activist. So it's just I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I grew up in with my great grandmother in the church, and we've always been a family where we did stuff like that. So I think that was just part of me of always wanting to be a vessel for change. So I just started Tools and Tiaras because I wanted to have the amount of women in construction change. So I'll throw out a little fact, and a lot of you may not know this, but since 1970 the amount of women in construction that actually work with their tools, like I am, plumbers and electricians and laborers and all of these different trades, has been 3%. 3% since 1970. Recently, in 2019, it went up to 3.5. Yes, and these jobs are highly lucrative. And I wanted to really send a message to girls and women everywhere that jobs don't have genders. Like you could do this. I can do it. Becca could tell you she sees me on Sunday in church when I come to church. Very girly, like with the shoes and the everything. But then I also do this. So I just wanted girls to know that they can actually, and women, but mostly girls because that's where my passion lies with young girls. But just wanted to uh, make sure that girls know that these are viable debt-free college, options like debt-free, no college debt that you have to keep paying for. So that's a little bit about Tools and Tiaras in the sense of why I did it. And what we do is I actually teach girls 6 years old. So don't, it sounds really scary, but 6 years old to do plumbing, electrical, carpentry, welding, auto mechanic, engineering, architecture, like just tools. I just put tools in girls' hands and let them build the world that they see. So that, and we do that through our free monthly workshops and all girls summer camps that are taught by women in the trades.
It's just
That's
so
amazing.
exciting.
Yeah.
I know, right? I was like, I know, I want to wrap it up. I'm like, I know it's a lot to unpack, but no, it's fun. It really is.
No, and I want to actually get a little bit more into so professionally, unless this has changed,
Mm-hmm.
when I knew you at least, you were not like the plumber that someone calls when they have a clogged toilet. You're the plumber that's hauling like hundreds of pounds of pipes and putting them into skyscrapers and stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, not that the other kind isn't also really important, but
Yeah.
it's a different kind of level, right? I mean,
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up because that's what I'm trying to change. Because a lot of people assume that plumbers, we just unclog toilet bowls and do lines, and we do more than that. So, right now, our country is going through this difficult time with COVID. And every time you've ever gone to the dentist, the hospital, or, get gas out of your, to put in your car, plumbers do that. So the vacuum lines, the uh the the oxygen lines, all of those things in hospitals, plumbers do. So I'm so glad she brought that up because we really do, it's such a field that you can specialize if you want to do drain cleaning, if you want to work in skyscrapers, if you wanted to be the person designing. That's how it is in construction. All of these fields are so like huge and vast and have so many niches. So I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the things we highlight with the girls. And I always give them this really cool joke that they like at the beginning. And I say, what plumbers do and they'll unclog toilet bowls. And then I was like, no, right? And I say that. And then I say to them, in the beginning was God, and the God created demigods, and they were called plumbers. And they all start laughing, just as a fun joke, just to break the ice a little bit. But that's really like the thing that I'm trying to change with tools and tiaras and really stepping out there out of my I've always been an activist in the back. Becca knows me. She knows I'm a pusher for things that I want to get changed. That hasn't changed, but I'm even though I'm vocal here speaking, I'm an introvert. I'd rather stay home and hibernate and find every excuse to just stay home. But I realized that my voice was needed because of the experience of being in the trade so long. So I brought my voice to to the forefront because of my love of plumbing and for the trades and for girls.
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that is just huge. I mean, I don't know, as someone who is brought up in a conservative Catholic Italian family, I was never encouraged to do anything like that as a child. And now I'm raising two children that have very black and white beliefs of who can do what.
Mm,
Especially my son, he tells my daughter all the time, his sister, he's like, well, you can't do that. That's a boy thing. Or but
yeah,
he wants to do the girl things, but she can't
yeah,
do the boy things. And I find
yeah,
it really interesting that at 8 years old, he's already making these quick judgments as to what his sister is capable of. And you're right, your voice is needed. There's not enough voices out there that are just reinforcing this, especially for the young ones that are out there just learning
yeah,
all this stuff. I mean,
and yeah. You're absolutely right. And that's one of the reasons why we only use women instructors. And now, we're going to add a new part of our programming. I focus on girls a lot. And sometimes some of the instructors, they have sons and they bring them and they get to be the only boy. And they get to, because we don't say that they can't. We haven't made any policy like that, but we are definitely geared towards girls. But the thing that we're going to do coming soon is to help boys like your son. We're going to bring some programming now where the boys get to build and do that stuff, but the women are the teachers. So they can
mhm.
see and understand that women do these things so that, and you can, and it's not his fault. All the television images, everything they see shows that the electrician or whatever you see on TV is a guy, is that person.
Mhm.
Men working above, not people working above, you know. So it's not really the images that we see. Even I'm a woman, I'm guilty of it. We all have our biases. I went to do like a photo shoot, and there was a girl there. They said she was a butcher, and when they said the butcher, they didn't say there was a girl. They said the butcher. Could we get? I was picturing a dude was going to come over. So I just want everybody to know we all do the same thing, right? And when
Yeah.
she came over, the girl was like me, like just how people, like probably what happens when they see the plumber and then I show up and they see this little person, like really. So I
Right.
felt the same way. So that's why I'm gonna make we're gonna do next year, like early next year, a programming where we have boys come in and same thing, only women instructors, so
Mhm.
they can experience that shift and know that
Yeah.
this is girls do these jobs also. So thanks for
That's
bringing that up
awesome.
Thank you.
because
That's awesome.
that's really important.
It's just my reality. I mean, I own a farm, so there's things that I do around here, which is a total fixer-upper, by the way. And I've learned to fix my own toilet, I will say. The day I fixed a toilet was like the biggest accomplishment ever because I'm sorry, plumbing is so much more complicated than even electrical. And I can change out light fixtures, but that stupid toilet kept leaking no matter what I did. It was a huge day for me. But when I do things like that, my son's always like, well, did daddy do that while I was at school? I'm like, no, child, that was me, right? Or, oh, daddy can do this. I'm like, no, no, mommy can do this. Mommy's going to do
Yeah,
that. And, you know,
nice.
even though he sees it every day from us, and my husband's a nurse, talk about another gender norm, weird
Right.
kind of situation. Like, even though he lives that and sees it every day, it's still ingrained in him from everything else, all the other outside influences that he sees that it's hard for them to catch up, right? So I
Yeah,
think it's awesome when they get to see women doing really cool stuff.
yeah.
I'll
Now
stop talking
I
now.
was I was reading an article that you did, and I one of the things you said was you like to catch girls before the age of 10. Can you explain about that?
Yeah, the reason for that is because growing up as a girl, if you know, we do this meditative thing and we close our eyes and we envision ourselves as little girls, we were fearless. Nobody could tell us anything that I can do. I can do that. Why? Why can't I do that? And then at 10 years old, girls have a shift from exactly what we're saying. Data has proven that through television images, things that they see, they start to shrink themselves and you say, I can't do that. That's a boy's job. So the reason why it's really important to catch why I start so young with the girls, that fearless spirit, trust me, I'm with 6-year-olds and they do not why? Why not? Like why that like why not? When I'm teaching them. And they love
Mhm.
that they have that fearless girl spirit that is somehow later on in life taken down, like starting at 10, you know, and then they start seeing the images. I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough, like a girl, you know, shoot like a girl, all those, you know, stuff that really um changes and takes away from that girl who was fearless. So my mission is to like make sure that girls don't lose that and we walk into every room knowing like I can do that. And maybe I might have to find a different way to do it. But I definitely can figure it out, right? So
Yeah.
that's why it's so important because they said that's when the shift happens at 10 years old.
Do you think we could reach the children that are beyond 10 and help them shift that mindset and get back into the I can do anything?
Yes, I think we can by putting more amazing women and seeing people that looks like them, that reflect them. Like we, you know, a lot of the girls say, "I didn't know women are plumbers," or like we expose them to female pilots, and we have girls now that actually asked me. I was so flattered. Samantha asked me to write a letter of recommendation after being at our camp and meeting a pilot, meeting female pilots. She was actually applying for a program for this summer. She comes to all our summer camp, but she missed it this year. She wanted to go to the pilots, and that's what we're doing. Like it's never too late. It's just that it has to be intentional. Like I'm very intentional with diversity of making sure that everyone is represented and the girls could see themselves. So as a girl of color, a black and brown, a girl who's from Asian descent, she can see herself. Our girls that are Caucasian, they see, everybody sees themselves in some one of the careers, and it makes them realize, I could do this. And not only that, we at Tools and Tiaras teach them about the trades. We also empower them through our programming called Tools, Total Ownership of Life Skills. The girls learn self-defense, they learn finances, they learn
Wow.
meditation, and they learn leadership. They learn how to speak in public. All of that, like they gotta be all rounded. They are warriors, so they need the full warrior, battle gear on. So we do all of that to make sure that exactly what you said, that they come back and know that it's not too late. At any point, they can do that.
All right, I'm sorry, I have to say something again. So what I find so awesome is how we often use the term like to empower people or women
Hmm.
empowerment or something like that. And what we usually mean is um, giving them a cheerleader or saying you can do it or I believe in you. But you are literally empowering them. Like you are actually giving them the skills and abilities that they need to be powerful and able to do that. And I feel like it needs to be redefined, the
Yeah,
whole idea of empowering, because like that's what you're really doing that. And most of the time when we say I feel empowered, we're not actually empowered. We don't actually know what we're doing. We just feel excited. Do you know what
but
I'm
that's the
saying?
thing. Yeah, I know
I
what you.
mean,
But
that's a
even
part of it, I'm sure,
yeah,
is getting them
that's a
excited,
start.
but you're actually giving them the power. Like you're giving them the skills and breaking through the barriers with
Yeah,
them so that they can do that. And that's empowerment on a whole other level, I guess is what I'm saying. And
yeah,
it's
I think it is
fantastic.
good. I think what you're saying is both. I think the words, so like for instance, right, every time we start a camp or workshops. So I know this is the analogy I use. I know people think it is, but at the beginning of every camp, I pretend that I'm Mel Gibson. This is Braveheart. Okay, this is time for war, ladies, right? And I have the girls on the desk, and I say to them, the most powerful words in the universe, in the Bible, everywhere you see this, I am. I am, right? So I start off by saying, I start banging the tables and I said, ladies, girls, my warriors, I got questions. And they're like, what you got? I said, do you have answers? What is the answer to my question? I am. And then I say, and bang, we start banging the desk while they're talking. Who is awesome? I am. And they shouted back, who is fearless, who is strong? And they just shouted it back. And then we ended like a big roar. I think it's on video somewhere because I always do it. And and what I find by doing that is that I'm empowering them and I'm also empowering me because it starts with the word. Like it's faith. It's like you have to start believing with your words because your mind don't know if you start saying, I am fearless, I am awesome.
Mhm.
And because of the girls teaching them, they empower me too. Because now I feel like they empower me to learn to swim. Because I'm telling them they're fearless, and there I go, not doing some of the things. So it starts with the words. So even we saying, "You go, girl," Rebecca, you got
Mhm.
this. I have stickers that said, "I got you, sister," or stuff like that. It starts with that, and then they start catching up. And sometimes um, like we have a scholarship right now that we offering to women who would want to try to the trades. It's virtual so that women who are home, they can actually have a career shift. And there was a lady, people are always shocked when they DM me on Instagram or something like that I respond. If they put a phone number, they're gonna get lucky. If you put an email or something, it's too much with my dyslexia to write stuff. So I was like, nah, I don't want it. So I called her and she was getting divorced. She was going through a really, really hard time. And she'd been wanting all her life to be a plumber. And she saw my video somewhere and she just took a chance and reached out. And I told her, like, she was shocked. I responded. And then I told her about the scholarship that was going to come and it was going to start whenever. I sent it to her and she still didn't apply. And she sends back an email saying, I don't want to take the spot from somebody. You've been really kind. I didn't expect you. Thank God that you have and I said to her, you're not taking anybody's spot. God, the source, the creator, however you want to see it, made you reach out to me, right? And now I'm responding. I said, you can do this. And she went ahead and did it. And sometimes we just need somebody to believe in us, right? And say,
Mhm.
you got it. Just like with me, with there was things that I didn't want to do, and a little girl forced me, to swim or something. So the empowerment, I think it's incumbent on us as individuals and also just as women to like spark each other, send each other rose flowers. Like, Becca, your hair looks nice. Oh, I love your glasses. Just those little things. No, I do that. And women probably feel strange walking down the street when I'm like, oh my gosh, I love how your hair looks today. Or, oh my, I love your afro or whatever. Just those, when people do that to me, I'll never forget this one. This was great. I was doing that CNN piece and I hate being on television. Hate taking photos. Becca would tell you if you try to find a lot of church pictures with me, I'm always ducking and hiding, right? I hate pictures. But I'm doing this piece and I'm walking down the street and the little girl was walking by. She could see me struggling. She's like, you got this. You could do this. And she helped me through that moment. I was really
Aw.
struggling, yeah, because walk again, do this, and I was having such a hard time. And even the CNN crew was like, you see how like what you preach, like now this little girl is encouraging me that I got this. I was so nervous. I still get nervous doing it. It don't look that way because I make a lot of jokes and it helps. But I really don't like doing it much. But she did that for me and I felt so good that she was like, you got it, girl. You look good. You walking powerful. And that's yes. She said those things to me and it made the day made me able to get to that shoot. So we can do that for each other. Definitely.
So I'm
Wow.
curious
Thank
because
you.
obviously, I mean, being a plumber is a big part of who you are, but how did you walk down that path yourself? I mean, do you have anybody who had kind of inspired you, a woman, and as you were young, who encouraged you to try and challenge yourself into something that wasn't the typical norm for a little girl, or did you just kind of stumble upon it?
I think it's a combination of all my life. Even though I grew up in a church, I always felt like, well, why girls can't do this? Like, I always had that. So I think like that warrior spirit within me was always there. And like growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, girls stayed home and did the dishes and the boys got to go out. So I always rebelled against that. Like, why? Like, why can't he just learn to cook for himself? Like, I mean, the thoughts were always there. And when I attended primary school and then secondary school, it's like similar to high school. Back then, you guys are way young, so this is gonna come as a shocker. In
Not
schools,
that young.
girls used to have to do culinary arts like home ec, shorthand. Anybody knows what shorthand is? We used to have to do shorthand and typing and those things. So I think it started there where I got kicked out of those classes because I was not good at it. Like I got kicked out of typing. I still can't type. I one finger the whole time, every email I got to do. Now you see why it takes so long. Um, and I got kicked out of that class and I was put into technical drawing and stuff like that. Still not thinking about plumbing, but I think it was laying the foundations
It's a
for
shift.
that rebel spirit, that rebel girl of like doing it. And then when my great grandmother had passed away and I didn't have the means to attend university, the trades was the next best free option. So that's how, and I had a choice of plumbing or electrical. And I told this story before, but it's really the honest truth. It was electrical, you get shock, plumbing, you get wet. And I was like, no, wet is a lot easier. So for me, I really prefer to get wet than shock. I'm still deathly scared of electric. But that's how I chose plumbing. That's the no bigger. That's the origin: wet or shock, and wet
It's a good
one
decision.
plumbing. Yeah.
Good decision.
That's cool. And where you're at now with tools and tiaras, is it where your vision has led, or do you have more you want to come from it?
Oh,
Where do you want it
more.
to go?
I definitely say I always have more because I that's just something in me. I don't know. I always want more because I know that more is available. Not that I'm not content, because you have to be contented and be grateful. So every day I wake up and God, I'm very grateful for you giving me another day, give me an opportunity to be able to use my life to help somebody, right? That's how I start. But then that's still it makes me want to do more. So it's just there's more gonna happen, there's more gonna come, and it's exciting, and it's a lot of work, and sometimes I, like you and every other woman, we have the imposter syndrome. Am I doing this? Am I making a difference? I remember this year after having camp, and it was successful. Like this, so I like to be really honest. Like, I want people to know you could do all of this stuff that you see me doing while scared, not always having it together. So we had camp. All the girls loved it, the virtual camp, great feedback. And Friday it was over. I come home, I take a shower, and I come out of the shower, and then I start the imposter syndrome takes in, and I say, God, am I really making a difference? Am I making a difference in girls' life? Because I don't feel that I am, right? Now, mind you, all the evidence I had with the girls having fun, telling me, I still had that moment. I'm coming out of the bathroom. And then when I came out and I changed and I opened my email, one of the girls, Sky, her parents, sent me a picture of Sky with her hard hat, her glasses, and her tools. And her mom said to me, this is the best experience she's ever had. And I just started to cry. I cried because that's who I am. Like what you were asking about doing more. I'm always questioning myself. Am I doing enough? Am I here? Am I living my life's purpose? Am I? So you know, and like I said, I had camp and the girls said it was great. And I still did that to myself. So it happens.
That's awesome. So where do you want it to grow to? Do you want to have more camps? Do you want it to be your full-time thing? Or do you enjoy still plumbing while doing this on the side, or do you want this to become your primary?
So I want to always do plumbing. I really love plumbing, but it's getting to the point where at some point I think I'll have to leave plumbing and do this full time, because I'm doing this while having a full time job. I have people starting to help me, but we are expanding, going to have chapters all over the U.S. We get emails from mom and dads here in the US, all over the world, saying we want Tools and Tiaras chapters. Is there a Tools and Tiara chapter in Ohio? Is there one? So that's the natural what we're doing right now. But really being mindful, because I like to beta test. Like, we're gonna have one chapter start, and then at least work it out and see what we were doing right and what wasn't working. But that's the goal, and many other amazing things that I would love to do. But I'm really strategic, because only because a lot of things that you need to do, you need funding. Anything, you have a church, you have a business, you have a nonprofit, you need money for growth. It is it is the bottom line. So we're not fully there yet where I can say, oh, I could leave plumbing and I could pay myself, a salary. I'm not there, but even if I probably could, I probably won't right away, because I still love being a plumber. Believe it or not. So that's a good question, because it's really difficult, and I'm seeing the signs like I might have to, but we'll see. That would be the end goal. At some point, I'll have to do that, because I get inundated with emails and people wanting me to do this. I That's why with Becca, back and forth, it took a long time, because camp happened, planning for camp in June, July, August. I thought September I was going to have a break, and then I was flying everywhere. I think this is the first time I'm home in a while, 'cause I'm all over the country sometimes. So yeah, I think your question, as soon I might have to leave. The two committed relationships I've been in is plumbing
Mm.
and coffee. So I think I might have to, to leave
Will,
one
will you
soon.
keep the coffee?
Yeah, yeah. I really, one time, this is so funny. I tried to decaf. I was like, oh, and I went through the whole shaking, the whole headaches, everything. Got to the point like, yeah, I could do decaf, right? yeah, this is what happened. So now I volunteered to go to Puerto Rico after Maria to help rebuild and stuff, and I'm there. And I go to the restaurant. Excuse me, can I have a decaf coffee? Everybody looked at me like, "What are you talking about? There's no such thing." And boom, right back to caffeine. And I haven't tried doing the decaf again because it was so painful getting to there. And then I went to Puerto Rico and I had to just go full blast with because there's no such thing. So that was funny. Yeah, that was all that preparation to listen. That was painful. I didn't give up
Yeah.
coffee, but I figured I could switch to decaf. That was the funniest thing, how life throws you something.
So I have
Oh,
questions about being,
Mhm.
well, not just a plumber, but your personal experience. I know you've had some, well, you had mentioned before we went live about
Yeah,
how, what'd you say? It could be a little lonely in some ways, being, you said 3% of tradespeople are female. So you're
yeah,
definitely a minority when you're working. And I don't know if you would talk a little about that. And then, and do you think that people's attitudes toward it are changing? Like in the workplace, do you feel more accepted now than you did 10 years ago, for example? Or
yeah.
is it still
So
a big challenge?
no, it's changing a lot. So it's lonely. I have been able to through the years now not be the only woman and have more of women in other trades. That was the first wave, and then I started being able to be on a job with other female plumbers here in New York City. But the day-to-day life of most women in the trades outside of big city is them being the only one. And the reason why our numbers are so low, as you brought it up, the 3% since 1970, and it just went up to 3.5. Yay! It's small. But part of that is because women come in and they don't stay because of those things you're saying. Sometimes, the harassment, not being able to learn their craft like other people. But I think some of it has been changing in the sense that it's more acceptable. More the men are not as bad. I could say from my experience, it's still women experience some of the things that I used to because they live in Ohio or they live in the middle of nowhere. For me, it's a lot different now. A lot of guys, I've proven myself, so I don't have to do that anymore. Um, in the sense of like some people, but sometimes changing people's minds. So I knock on your door, Judaline the plumber, and I have women don't believe that I'm the plumber and close the door on me, and would not even let me show them. Yeah, I still get that, but I laugh because I think it's there, and then I make funny jokes like, yeah, they let women do this now, and they get it, and so I've always used humor as a thing to survive because we want people just don't know. Like I said, I have my own bias, and I think by approaching it that way, um, it helps a lot. So it's changing, but uh, for like I will speak as a woman of color, um, and an immigrant woman. Like sometimes for us, it's not changing fast enough. Like hello, like pick
Mm.
this up, right? So in a lot of ways, it may not be changing fast enough for a lot of women also at the same time. I hope that answers your question.
Do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
how do you prepare the girls that come to your camps and seminars for that reality?
So I from day one we do the Braveheart so they know that they're warriors, and I always remind them that as a woman until we change the percentage, right? You are most likely, no matter if you decided to be a doctor, you might be the only woman of color that is a doctor, or even girl that is deciding to be a girl who's driving a race car. So I always get them prepared upfront for the reality that the world out there, you might choose something that you are the one and only. But when those difficult times arises, think about all the amazing, heroes that I introduced you to this week, and we share our story with them. So you have to be honest with them because that way they don't go in like rose-colored glasses thinking it's kumbaya. Like this is not going to be because that's not the world we at yet. We want to get there, and by doing that you preparing them honestly. I love to be honest with them, and they get that. So one of the girls, Tanzara, she came to our camp. She originally wanted to be a doctor, and her family wanted to be a doctor, and now she's studying engineering. She said when she was doing the class, and she was the only girl, the boys would say, "Why you want to do this?" Right? And then she said, "I remember listening to your stories and all the women that you introduced us to, so I can get through this." So just always reminding them there's a chance. Women, we are 51% of the population. We do 50% of the world's work. We only get 1%, only like 10% of the world's income, and we only have 1% of the world's property. So in order for that to change, we have to let girls know right now you're going to be one and only, but don't give up. It's going to be difficult. You're going to get pushback. I get pushback. Sometimes I want to quit. Sometimes you're going to want to quit, but find what motivates you to start that in the first place, and you'll get through it. So that's a
I
really
want to,
good question.
yeah, I want to give a couple comments that people have made on the live on Facebook.
Oh, sorry.
Beverly says, this was from a little while back. Sorry. She says, that's
Oh, okay.
awesome. It's how I raised my 3 girls.
Nice.
And McCall just came on and she says, shine, Judy, shine.
That's cute.
That's
So
awesome.
we can go back to talking. I just wanted to let you know because you won't actually see it.
Yeah,
Can I
yeah.
ask, do you
But
see
Yes.
in the future tools and tiaras, or I mean, is there something else out there for the ones that don't get caught before age 10? Like, I'm thinking of the women, like you said, who are maybe just coming out of trade schools or just going into them and are facing these struggles, the ones in Podunk, Idaho, not ones that may see other
Right.
women in their trades that are giving up. I mean, what you're doing is phenomenal. Is there something for those that are still feeling that way or facing that today that, maybe didn't have that positive influence that you're able to give children at a younger age?
Yeah, I would say definitely, as much as I don't like social media, um, but it has helped us a lot. I think for a lot of women, seek a tribe, seek a tribe of women that that can help you and motivate you, and you find words like when I wanted to quit, I used to say to myself, "Don't let anyone mess with your dead presidents." I'm old school, so the dead presidents, the movie. Don't let anybody mess with that. So the days when I wanted to quit. Um, and sometimes what motivated me is the fact that I was making men uncomfortable. Ooh, that's the other side of me that I had to pray about. Sometimes I revel in stuff like that. So we all have struggles.
It's awesome.
No, really, I was like, wow, I'm making, and then
It's
it
kind of
gave
fun,
me
isn't it?
joy, and yeah, it's kind of fun,
I
and it
should have
gave me
prayed for
joy.
that in my career too. You're a better woman than I
Yeah.
am because I went to
Oh
work every day and
no.
couldn't wait to make them squirm.
Yeah, I love that. I can give you like recently there was a guy, I guess he hasn't worked with, he just came to work with the night show that I was working with. And I have a partner a long time, we were gonna do plumbing, and I was doing it, and he said to the guy, "You're gonna let the girl do it?" And he's like, "Yo, she's been a plumber longer than, she knows how to do plumbing." And he said, I was using his tools, and he said, "Oh, my tools are gonna be very confused right now." I said, "No, your tools are probably saying, 'Wow, I finally found somebody who knows how to use me.'" So I've always been that girl with the quick comeback with the guys and the girl out there. You, even though now sometimes I'm not even lying, the things that they might say to me might be like inside of me, but I always had a quick comeback. So for the girl who's out there all by yourself, work on your comebacks. It really does help. That helped me a lot. Just all those quick comebacks all the time. Make fun of
Beverly
my
says,
height.
right on.
Yeah,
you need
they
to
make
make a
fun of my.
book just of your comebacks on how
I
to
know
respond
people
to
tell me like,
men
I
in
know
a
people tell me every time
men-dominated industry.
I know every time I do a speaking engagement, people tell me that like, oh, you have all of these amazing one-liners and those punches because I really do. Like one time, a guy, the only girl in the elevator, it's like a hoist, the man hoist they call it. You see on the movies that take everybody's up, so I'm always
Even the
the only
name is
girl,
sexist.
right? The man hoist. So I always sit in front because I was the only girl. I didn't want to be in the middle to put myself in a situation where somebody who touched me, right? So I would stay in the front. And guys would make fun like, "Oh my God, you're so short." But they pay, what I was like, listen, the funny thing is they don't pay me short money. Booyah. And just drop the mic. Because I get the same money as them. It doesn't whatever. This is the one trade. And that's one thing we should talk about. What's amazing about construction is we know we have different stats, and these stats are true for women women of color, indigenous women, Latino women, Asian women. We all have different white women, 65 and some need, and it goes down, it keeps going down, 65, 52, 45 cents. And this is the one field that I never have to negotiate for my salary. Whatever the guy 6'2" is earning as a union plumber, I am getting the same. And it's so in a lot. Never have to negotiate.
Wow.
I can take a year off from plumbing and decide that you know what, I'm a good singer. Becca could tell you, I love singing in church. Like I ad lib and all of that. Hey, hallelujah. Hey. And I'm adding all of those extras. She can tell you, like, I love singing in church. And I could say, I want to be a singer and leave plumbing, keep paying my union dues, come back, and the rate when I left was $50, let's say $50 an hour, and I come back and it's 55. I don't have to negotiate to get the 55. I automatically get it. This is the one field. Women, come join this. You are missing out. Come join us. It's like
Well,
amazing.
Move to a
saying
union
that,
state too and
say-
join, right? Because that's
Yeah, that happens
Say
huge.
too.
We live in Florida, but I'm from
Yeah,
New
the right
York,
to
so
work.
I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, the right to work is hard. As much as they don't want to admit it, it most of
Mhm.
those states, the salaries and union salaries set the precedent, the limits for everybody else. They kind of use that as a benchmark, believe it or not, even though. But it's great for that. Like, growing up really really poor in Trinidad and Tobago, and coming here as an immigrant, and being able to make over $100,000 without a college degree or college debt is mind change. Is like blowing. And I walk what I say. I walk it and I talk it. My daughter, Becca, probably haven't known this, but she's in the trades also now. Like Carrie is a sheet metal worker. So the AC that you feel when you go into buildings and stuff like that, she does that now, the big ducts and stuff. So she's in the trades now, and I didn't expect it, but she is. So it really is life changing on this side. Anything you decide to do as a woman, you're going to be the minority. You're always going to have to fight. Why not fight with equal pay?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So
That's a
So,
fight
saying
worth
that,
taking.
if you have a young girl who's watching this and she's right out of high school and she decides, this makes a lot of sense, I want to go into plumbing, what are the steps, what's the process, and how long is the journey to the
oh,
career?
wow. You are great. I must have you a guest on my podcast. Very good questions. Great questions. Exactly how you say like for the fact. So the thing about plumbing, what people don't realize, for me, I had to go to school for 5 years of an apprenticeship. 4 more years, I could have been a doctor, but I'm a doctor of plumbing. So 5 years in trade school. So you come out, you can go on to, it's called NAP2, which is, everybody loves acronyms. It's a National Union Building Trades Union. You could go on their site, and on that site have all the different trades. Let's say plumbing, like you asked, all the different states where these unions are. And every union, um, whether carpenter, plumbers, have different time to take application, right? They have applications. You just need to have a high school diploma, for most of them. And what's great about the trades, you could be 50. I wouldn't suggest being a plumber at 50. It's very hard. But let's say a woman at 50 who wanted to be a plumber and do it, she really could do it. It's something that anybody. So that young girl coming out of high school, she can go and apply for an apprenticeship, and 5 years you do an apprenticeship. And during that time of the apprenticeship, as a plumber or whether it be a sheet metal worker, you getting paid while you learning. So we have a slogan. We always say, "Earn while you learn." So you actually getting paid during that time. Every time you take a test, you get paid. So the great thing about what I do as a plumber, I learned the science behind what I do, and it's like that with all the trades. So you're gonna learn that, and when you become a journeyman or you journeywoman or whichever way you want to say it, um, you now have the ability to earn even more money, and also now it's incumbent on you now to pass it on and teach somebody else. So it's been around for a long time, and even companies that are not union are actually embracing the apprenticeship because motto, because apprenticeships work. So that's what it will be. That will be the journey, and every state is different. The income where you would be. New
Yeah.
York in plumbing, let's say like plumbing, New York, New Jersey, Nevada, San Diego, a lot of those states, the numbers are high. Yeah, I was just in San Diego for our big conference, but it differs in every state, but the process is pretty much the same. Most of the apprenticeships within most unions are 4 to 5 years.
And how is the
Oh,
pay
there's a
in
whole.
apprenticeships? Is it something
It's
that would
great.
discourage someone? Okay.
No,
No.
no. I mean,
Anything's better than a free internship with most of us get sucked into with our college degrees. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
yeah,
honest. We're learning
yeah,
very
yeah,
little most of the time. It's not typically within your specialty or anything. So
yeah.
that's huge.
Very huge. And I feel like apprenticeships are the other 4 year degree without the debt. It really
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right now, my daughter is here because she's in school for this week. So some people do it differently. Like when I did plumbing, I went every Wednesday, or it changes for the 5 years. I went to school at night after working during my apprenticeship. During my apprenticeship, I worked during the day and I went to school at night. A lot of them realize that that is really hard, like working all day in the cold, and then I go in a warm building and I just want to sleep while I was at school.
Mm.
And they didn't want. So now a lot of the apprenticeship, they get to attend school either for a full week or one day every 2 weeks, and you get paid. And a lot of unions now, when I went, this is going to blow your mind. This is I wish they had this when I went. I'm so jealous. But most of them now will help you get a college degree
Wow.
free.
Wow.
Yeah, starting off in whether you want to study law, or everyone is a little bit different. Imagine that. Oh, I could have, and you could do it while your apprenticeship. It's the best kept secret. Like, and I don't think it's because they're purposely. I
It doesn't
think
make
part of it,
sense. Like, how is this even? I don't. I mean, anybody. My mind is just blown here. This is insane to me. I mean, you're looking
yeah.
at somebody between me and my husband. We could probably have over $100,000 in student loans, and it's like, wait a minute, what did I do wrong?
Well, part of it, as you said, I wanted to start to try to do a lot more policy work, which I hate, politics, but
Yeah.
I have to do a lot of politics because what happens is what I found out, talking to more people and interviewing people in schools, guidance counselors are pushed to encourage students to look at college, and they cannot really tell
Mm,
them about the trades, and we got to change that.
Mhm.
That's where
mm.
the problems are. So, parents don't know that it's an option, and then also the myth was like, oh, somebody's in construction because they're not smart enough to go in college.
Mhm.
Yo, dude, I could be a lawyer if I wanted
Mhm.
to be. It's gonna a little
The
bit
way
harder
you
to.
quote
Right.
those numbers and percentages and all these things that you're like just spitting out, like because you know them, it's clear that you
I've
are.
studied.
Yeah, you're plenty good at remembering things. And
Yeah,
I mean, if
yeah,
it was me, not that I have a college degree, but if it was me, I would have to have my notes here so that I could be like,
yeah.
it's this one. This one.
The ones that are important to me, I love knowledge and I
But it's
love
changing in thought
reading.
process.
Yeah, and the best thing is,
It's like a
and here's
huge
the
change in thought process. I recently had a conversation with a mother who had a teenager who was graduating high school and wanted to go into a
mhm.
trade school, and she was thoroughly disappointed in his decision. And she was like, he could be so much more and he could do so much more. And I was like, but he could make so much money. Like, and again, even here
And
in
enjoy
Florida,
it.
right? Not union, like he
Yes,
could
yep.
work in construction down here. It is crazy. He could own his own business. There's so much opportunity. And she was thoroughly disappointed that that's what he wanted to do. So it's
Because
not just
society told her that.
encouraging our children, but changing the thought process of those of us who
Mhm.
parent and influence those kids too.
Yeah.
It's huge. It needs to be an everyday regular conversation is what it needs.
And that's what we're doing now. And you're absolutely right about that. Because if we look, let's just think about this. COVID happened. A lot of people lost their jobs.
Mhm.
A lot of people. Who kept on working?
You know who didn't? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. All the construction workers. But here's the other kicker, right? I literally could, as a plumber, I can say, you know what, New York, I love you. I love the eclectic thing about you. You know, you have all the food from all over the world right here in the city. I know, but I changed my mind. I want to go live in Panama. I will always have a job.
Mm-hmm.
I can move to Ireland. I can always have a job. I can just say, you know, that's the great thing about what we have with these hands. And we as a country have to know that the tradesmen and tradeswomen are building this country every single day. You go to the movie theater, who did that? Uh Okay, you went to the school to drop your kid off. Who built that and provide the bathroom so that all your kids could wash their hands and prevent COVID? I'm just gonna do because I love Blake Shelton, so I'm just gonna like I'm
Pick
gonna do
Kelly.
that. Right? Now she yeah, nah. But that's the reality. We have as a society, we have to teach that every job has value. The person who
Mm-hmm.
makes up the bed in the hotel has value. I was
Mhm.
a housekeeper before I got back into plumbing. I have value. I was a nanny.
Mm-hmm.
I have value. Every single job, and never shame anyone about their job and make our kids think that one is better than the other. Maybe I just don't want to sit in the office and type emails because that's not my jam. And some people love typing emails. You know what I mean? So we have to change that. And like you said with her, you know, there's jokes all the time that people make about how the lawyer was crying how expensive the plumber is, you know, and when I do speaking engagements, I tell people, I know when I tell everybody here what I do for a living, everybody will want my number because everybody's going to need a plumber before they need a lawyer. Just
Mm-hmm.
think about that. How many times when you have to fix that water heater, you said, "What? How much the plumber wants me to?" Okay. So
Yep.
that's what we got to change the mindset of the parents. And that's what I'm working on too, because we actually get to see the mom and dad say, really? That's how much you guys make? you know?
Well,
Or like when
they're
you show
shocked.
students, yeah, when you show students our paycheck, they're like, really? So that's the shift. We really have to bring this country back to where we were, where we held skilled labor with value. The guy
Mm-hmm.
who's the tailor, the person who's the seamstress, just having really value for every form of work because we have to envision it like our body, the way it was created. Every single part of your body has a function. No one is better than the other. Try twisting your ankle and then you have to support yourself on one. Try messing
Mhm.
and then now you're righty and now something went wrong, you broke your leg, and then you try to do everything. I mean, come on. It's all important. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
work is and jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Every part has important value.
It does.
I know we focused a lot on the money because that is huge, right? But just, I mean, I
Yeah.
think there's also this sense of accomplishment. I mean, when you drive by a building that you've laid plumbing for, you've got to feel pretty freaking damn good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
all I did was fix a toilet and I talked about it for a month and a half, girl. Like, I mean, you're talking a lot bigger than what anything I can do. And I just, for some people, that's even more important. Like this feeling of accomplishment, finishing a
Yeah.
task and knowing it is 100% completed and you did your absolute best work at it and you can move on to something else. I mean, that's huge with stuff like that. With
Yeah,
any kind
you're
of
right.
trades work, really.
So I'll confess, there's memes all over the internet how tradespeople, we really make our family, torture our family by showing them every single, I built that, I worked in there. This is what we do. I do it all the time.
I
It's
do it all the time.
we all do it. Like that's the curse. Like there's so many of them on the internet about us doing that. It's that's our jam. We
Yeah. I'm probably never going to be able to walk through the city again and not and not wonder if you did the plumbing for the building that I'm passing. That's for sure.
Every single building. Oh, did your sound go off?
She's pushing buttons.
Oh no, her sound went off.
We were doing so good.
And we only have 5 minutes left.
That is true.
Either way, this has been a fantastic interview, and we are so grateful to have learned this stuff. And I want to know more about her summer camps and her monthly. Is it monthly seminars?
I don't know if that was all the time monthly or.
Yeah,
we definitely have to link to a lot of that stuff, and man, there were still more questions.
I did have some. I was gone.
She wasn't so busy. I'd ask her to come back again, but I don't know. She's always in the middle of something. But I at least want to ask her. She was talking about having stickers. Like
she said, she had stickers.
I bet so I wonder if she means that she sells them.
Oh, you're back.
Maybe. You.
Can we hear you?
Can you hear us? No.
We can't hear you.
See her lips moving.
I think she can hear us.
You can hear us, but we can't hear you.
You should have T-shirts.
I bet she does. I want to go look.
And we officially lost her.
We did. Oh, thanks for everyone for watching. This is amazing.
Hold on. I'll give her a call after.
She's reconnecting. Give us a second. Let's see.
We can go long. We can make this a double. Oh no. So this is when this was like a segue into the electrician.
Right? Yeah. The internet.
Are you back?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what you guys get. I can see you guys. Can you hear me?
It's fuzzy, but we can kind of hear you.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I was on Do Not Disturb. I don't know what happened. So this is the internet.
It's the internet. See.
Well, we want to tell you that we are so, so, so grateful that you came with your hugely busy schedule to talk to us. And we all feel excited and amazed at the things that can happen.
And we will be referring people to your site and you.
Yes. Cannot wait to start sharing this with people. And do you have things for purchase like on your website? Like you mentioned stickers,
T-shirts.
Yeah.
Like we could go there and get things like that.
Yes, you can.
And people that are listening, because we'll put, I say we, Nikki will put all of that in the show notes because Nikki is the one with the skills.
I'll link to all her stuff.
All right.
She's our techie.
But yes. I don't even know how I inherited this responsibility, but yes, I will link all of Miss Cassidy's wonderful resources. And just like the girl said, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, darn, if I wasn't like 20 years younger, I would career change right now because it just sounds like so much fun. But I'm nearing that 50 number and that sounds scary. So, and for the record, I did take home ec and typing in school, so you weren't the only one out there.
Okay, thank you.
Beverly says in the chat says tell you thank you for her, and McCall says she's going to text you.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep in touch, so I look forward to this. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Yes, thank you again.
Bye.
All right, ladies.
Have a good
we'll see y'all in
night.
the next one. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.